It is the end of an era in Bangladesh. The country's first woman Prime Minister, Khaleda Zia, has passed away at the age of 80 following prolonged illness. India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will be attending the funeral ceremony on Wednesday. Khaleda Zia was undergoing treatment at Dhaka's Evercare Hospital. She had been under treatment for the past 36 days since being admitted on the 23rd of November. According to her doctors, she had advanced cirrhosis of the liver, arthritis, diabetes, as well as chest and heart problems. According to a statement issued by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, she breathed her last at 6 a.m. local time. In a post on Facebook, the party requested everyone to pray for the departed soul. Her death, remember, comes just days after her son, Tariq Rahman, returned to Bangladesh from London, ending 17 years of self-imposed exile as the country heads towards crucial elections on the 12th of February next year. Meanwhile, the chief advisor of the interim administration in Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunus, expressed profound sorrow on Zia's demise. In a condolence message, Yunus said that with the passing of the former prime minister, Bangladesh has lost a great guardian. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended his sincere condolences to Zia's family and the people of Bangladesh. In a post on X, PM Modi lauded her contribution towards the development of Bangladesh and India-Bangladesh relations. He recalled his warm meeting with her back in 2015. So who was Khaleda Zia? Well, Khaleda Zia was born on the 15th of August 1946. In 1960, she married Zia-ur-Rahman, who later became the president of Bangladesh. She turned to politics after the assassination of Zia-ur-Rahman, joining the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or the BNP, in 1982. She was elected vice chairperson of the party in March 1983 and became the chairperson of the party in the next year, that's August 1984. Years later, in 1991, she became Bangladesh's first woman prime minister. She returned to office in 1996 after the BNP secured a landslide victory but resigned within a month. Khaleda Zia was re-elected Prime Minister in 2001 and 5 years later, in 2006, she stepped down from office, transferring power to a caretaker administration. During her entire political career, she fought against Sheikh Hasina over her legacy, policies, and even on India. With Khaleda Zia no more and Hasina ousted from the country, the question that Bangladesh is staring at is, what next? Let's get answer to this question and much more and decode this entire situation that prevails now after Khaleda Zia. I'm joined by Ambassador Veena Sikri. She is former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh. She's currently a professor at the Jamia Millia Islamia University. Ambassador Sikri, good evening. Welcome to WION. I want to start by asking you, and since I think you're the best person to help us understand this, since you served in Bangladesh during the time of Khaleda Zia as Prime Minister, I want to understand from you the legacy she leaves behind and whether that legacy will be followed by her son Tariq Rahman, who many tout as the next Prime Minister of Bangladesh.
Well, I think she has a legacy, I would say, definitely on 2 or 3 issues. One would be that she did get together, the courage and the leadership to lead the BNP after the death of President Zia-ur-Rahman, and she led it to great success. She got the party together, she increased the membership, and eventually became the first lady prime minister in the general elections held after 15 years of military dictatorship in Bangladesh. This was in 1991. So that was, an important legacy. And in 1991, the second aspect I would like to talk about is that Begum Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina got together to fight for democracy. These parties and these 2 leaders are often seen as being on the opposite side and, being always warring with each other. And in fact, I sometimes say that you're always talking only about the 2 women, you're calling them battling Begums and so on. Yeah. But, actually they did get together to bring democracy back to Bangladesh in 1991. And again, in 2007-8, when there was an army-backed caretaker government in Bangladesh, both Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina told them that they must bring back democracy, must have elections. So another reason that they got together. So that is an important point. And I think that also they got together, the two leaders, to bring in the caretaker government system. When Begum Khaleda Zia stood for re-election in 96, she declared herself re-elected, but nobody accepted it. And then
Okay.
she willingly stepped down. So these are aspects of, them wanting to bring democracy. And I think this is the legacy that her son, Tariq Rahman, will be expected to follow. Because I think one of the worries of the BNP after 5 years of being in alliance with Jamaat-e-Islami, that many of the BNP members are pro-Jamaat. And so many in this forthcoming election may actually be quite happy with seeing Jamaat coming to power, because Jamaat is certainly trying very hard
Yeah.
to get elected. They've got in a coalition of Islamist parties, and they're trying to fight that out. But I think Tariq Rahman's legacy will be to arrange an inclusive election. And if he's able to do that and bring in the Awami League as a democratic participant in the elections, at the moment they're seeing it as what I may call a friendly fight between the Jamaat and the
Okay.
BNP. But the Awami League and others need to be brought in. They are being left out incorrectly, I think, because a non-participatory election, first of all, will not be considered credible, and it will not be accepted by the people. It happened before, in 96, like I told you, when the election was considered not fair and free. People opposed it. They didn't accept Khaleda Zia's election second time as Prime Minister after 1991. And so the elections had to be done again. There was a caretaker system brought into the
Yeah.
constitution, and then it worked out. So this time I really hope that Tariq Rahman will agree and will bring in inclusive elections.
Okay.
And once all the parties are there, whoever wins in those elections, it's fine. Because then the people will accept it as a democratic expression of will, and there will be stability. Today, there's
Sure.
complete anarchy.
Ambassador Sikri, one of the other challenges and legacies that perhaps Tariq Rahman also has to explore and make a decision on is Bangladesh's stance towards India. Khaleda Zia was a vocal voice who spoke against India very many times. She even attacked Sheikh Hasina on those lines. But now with Tariq Rahman expected to be at the helm of affairs, how do you see him tackling the India-Bangladesh ties, which currently, of course, as we all know, are strained?
Yes, I think this is a very important point, because you're right. I was there at the time when Begum Khaleda Zia was Prime Minister, and we had major issues, particularly on security. The support that the then Bangladesh government was giving for the Northeast Indian insurgent groups. They had bases and camps in Bangladesh, they had businesses and bank accounts in Bangladesh. It was very difficult, and they would go from Bangladesh, commit their terrorist acts, and then come back to Bangladesh. So this was a very important issue that we were taking it up, but they never saw the light of day. And one of the reasons for this is that right at the time that President Ziaur Rahman became president, became a military dictator, and fought for, and then created the BNP, he had always been very pro-Pakistan. He did not although he was himself a freedom fighter, but then he, used the help of Pakistan in everything he did after he became president. And that became a big problem. And even now, during 2001, 2006, when Khaleda Zia was Prime Minister for the full term, Tariq Rahman was very active, but he was very active in coordination with Pakistan. He led this Hawa Bhavan. There were two terrible incidents: attack on Sheikh Hasina's rally, Chittagong Arms Hall, all of them where Pakistan was fully involved. During 17 years of exile in London, also Tariq Rahman has been very much involved. Some people say directly, even with the ISI. So again, on this point, he has to show that he is different. Now, right now, with the terrible attacks on minorities, on women, the complete anarchy, people are being killed and lynched and raped. But Tariq Zia is completely silent. He has said nothing about the law and order situation. He has made some generalities of walking together, but he has shown or expressed no sympathy towards the people. Yeah. So I think these are points. Everybody will be watching Tariq Rahman very carefully, and whether he can overcome his legacy of the past, overcome what he did the last 17 years.
Ambassador Sikri, one quick last point I want to understand from you. Since you talked about the two Begums, Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia, coming together to bring back democracy, there was also a time in Bangladesh in 2006-07 when the military wanted to throw these two matriarchs out and rule the country. How do you think the Bangladesh army can play a role at this moment?
Well, at that time, what was very predominant was the -2 formula. And I think that is why even today they're talking of that,
Yeah.
And in fact, I must recall that at that time, the period you're talking about when the army-backed caretaker government was in power, Mohammed Yunus tried to come into politics. He even created a party. And he didn't succeed because nobody supported him. Despite his huge chain of Grameen Bank and grassroots organization, he was not supported at all. And he said, I'm leaving politics. But now he has come back. He again created this
Yeah.
NPP, which is actually more aligned with the Jamaat-e-Islami. But the army this time has been remarkably quiet. They have not really intervened at all, despite the law and order being so abysmal, despite the really very evident and shocking state of affairs in terms of whether it's universities, whether it is rural life, whether it is the Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, and the Sufis and Ahmadiyyas. So they have been remarkably quiet, whether it's under pressure from certain countries, whether they feel. So it's a moot point. But I do think at this point now, in order to arrange free, fair, and inclusive elections, I think the army has to come back into the picture, and Mohammed Yunus cannot be the caretaker chief.
Yeah.
Actually, they'll have to have a new caretaker government, because Mohammed Yunus, by his praise for Osman Hadi, by giving him this, he's showing his partisanship for one party, for one of the Islamist parties, and he hasn't shown himself to be above.
So Ambassador Sikri, perhaps that balance is missing currently in Bangladesh, and we'll have to wait and watch whether that political stability and balance does come in, and whether these elections are, held successfully in the country, and after that, what happens. But I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Ambassador Veena Sikri, for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.